Wallah. That's the only Arabic word I know.
Hey guys, it's me Sage, and I am back today to do a story time video. What? I know, crazy. And you might be thinking, is this clickbait? Like, what? It's not. I actually lived in the UAE, or the United Arab Emirates, for like a year and a half. So that's, if you don't know, that's the country. Dubai is like the state or region or whatever in it. Anyway, yeah, I live there and I have lots of stories to tell, and I think this video can be really long, so I'll just tell a few stories and then, I don't know, make a part 2, or I would love to make like an in-depth video of my whole life while I was there, but this is just a few of the highlights. So we're gonna start with the creepy old men, the perverts. First month that I was there, I was grocery shopping with my mom, and she actually went out a lot more by herself because she spent like, you know, days out shopping and whatever while I like stayed at the apartment, so a lot more shit happened to her. But this was one of the experiences that I had. I was shopping with her, and it was the first month I was there, and there was this old fat man. He was very creepy. I'm pretty sure he had a mustache and beard, and he was short. It was like a short old fat dude. Ugh, just remembering it is. Also, I'm filming this at sunset, so the lighting might be weird, sorry. But he saw me, and I remember I was wearing a flannel and jeans. I had a dress like really conservative while I was there, which fucking sucked. So I was wearing a flannel and jeans. Like, that's not even, you know, here in America that's not considered weird, but I guess the flannel was very bright and my jeans were skinny jeans. I don't know. But I was walking into the grocery store, and he kind of like saw me. He was like at the entrance, and we just kind of walked, and I ignored him. He just looked creepy, so we kind of like went in a different way. And then he started kind of following us, my mom and I was like, ew, like, is he going in the same aisles, or is he trying to follow, like, what is this? And he basically came up to me at one point, like when my mom walked to a different aisle. She was like, hold on, I'm gonna go grab something. And I was alone for a second, and he came up to me and he said, "You are very beautiful." And I was just like, okay. I remember I didn't really respond. I was just like, okay, bye. I don't even know what I said, but it was something awkward along those lines. I was super creeped out, and I just wanted him to leave me alone, so I just said, okay, like, bye. And I walked away and went to go find my mom and like told her what happened, and she was like, oh, that's creepy, like, let's like hurry up and get out of here. And so we were like continued our shopping, and we noticed he was following us in the aisles, and it was just super fucking creepy because every time like I turned around, he'd be like at the end of the aisle like staring at me, and I was like, ew, like, this man needs to go away. And so we like left the store, and it still to this day like freaks me out, because I mean, it might not seem like a big deal to some people, but there's definitely some creepiness going on, and that's not like the only experience that I had there. There was other like times that was very creepy. I was super self-conscious going out into public, especially by myself. The second story I will tell should be, I gotta mention the school. I went to an all-girls private school, and it was full of rich girls. And when I mean rich, I mean like filthy rich, or like wealthy people that had mansions and drivers and help or servants, whatever. And I was friends with some of them. Not all of them, obviously. Yeah, there was some interesting dynamics there, but I have to give a shout out to Ahad, because I know you're watching. Hi Ahad, you are my best friend in the UAE, thank you. I miss you. And then also I want to give a shout out to Amina and Atra, who are both of my other two closest friends while I was there. Basically I had like those 3 girls. Everyone else I didn't really get along with. But this next story, I mean, I have many stories with these girls, but I'll just tell like one that was very interesting, and it was in the first few months that I was there. I think within the first like 3 months or so. Basically, it was one of the girls' birthdays, and if I should have mentioned that some of the girls in my class were I guess you would say royalty. I don't know how it works. They just came from like very wealthy, powerful families, and some of them had like titles before their names. So like it would say like Sheikh and then their name, or like Sheikha. I don't remember. Just yeah, it was crazy. So I got invited to a big birthday party. I'm not gonna like say the other girls' names, but I got invited to a big birthday party, and I was very nervous about it. This is before like I knew people really well, because it was within the first few months there, and we drove. I had to take a taxi there, and it was very far. And there was a huge gate, and I had to be like let in up to this huge estate where there was an actual mansion. I was so out of place, my God. But yeah, there was a mansion, and it was super beautiful. I'd never really been to like a mansion in my life before. And it was just a very posh party. Like there was a whole buffet, and it was outside. They had a whole dance floor and like a DJ, and you could see, like, it was at night, but you could see the beach was right there. Like they had a mansion like on a hill, like right next to the beach, and it was just like a huge estate, and most of the party was outside. So at this party, it was super awkward. I didn't know how to interact with anybody. No one wanted to dance because everyone was too shy. There was like a whole family. It wasn't just like the girls. There was also like family members, and and it was nice, but it was just really awkward, and it was very formal, and I'm not a formal person. And then I'll tell you like the most embarrassing moment from the freaking party was when I arrived, and some of the other girls like when they got there went to greet me, and there's a different type of greeting. In America, we do a handshake. In Asia, some parts of Asia, they bow. I don't know if this is just like all rich people across the world. They do like kisses on the face, like mwah, 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 like that type of shit. That might just be like a rich thing. I don't know. But I went in for a handshake, or like, I don't know. She leaned in. One of the girls like came, and she leaned in, and I thought that she was going in for a hug, so I kind of went like this, and she leaned in, and it was just so awkward, and all the girls stood there for a second, and then they laughed, and I was like, oh my God, fuck my life. And she was like, no, like this is what you're supposed to do, and she like came close, and you're like supposed to kiss each other's cheek, like that bullshit. I don't know. Yeah, that was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my time there, and yeah, great. The rest of the party was just awkwardness, honestly. For the third story, this one is with my best friend from the UAE, Ahad. I thought this story was interesting because I could have died. Ahad is a horseback rider. She's really great, and she has her own horse. Yep, rich people, man. So she invited me to go horseback riding at these stables, and it's like out in the desert. It's outdoors, and I went a couple of times. And the second time I went, I think it was the second or third time, I'm not really sure. I was really nervous because it wasn't like a formal like school of like riding horses. It was just like professional riders that like would go, and it wasn't like meant for training or like for beginners like myself or anything like that. I've been on horses a few times, but like I'm not like great at it or whatever. And I got a really old horse, and they were like, he's fine, he's not gonna do anything, like it's all good. Or we went out with like another girl and like a coach or something like that, but we split up because it was just like out in the desert, like on a trail. So it was just like sand and like hot weather. It was at sunset, I think. So it was actually nice, and I enjoyed myself, saw some camels. I was like, this is really cool. I was kind of awkward because I wasn't good at handling the horse very well, because I'm not assertive enough. Like I can't kick the horse like hard enough to get them to go because I feel bad, even though that's dumb. And my horse was like super old and stubborn. So anyway, we went, and her horse is like young, and he was a stallion. Yeah, he's a stallion. So her horse is like completely different from mine. And we were out in the desert, and her horse, like, she's like was training him at this time, so he was a little bit more like full of energy and stuff. And so at one point he got a little bit like too, what do you call that when a horse is like too much? I don't know, but she had to like get off of him, and she was just holding his reins and like walking alongside him, and I was just like on my horse. We pretty much walked the whole time, and maybe did like a little bit of a trotting, but yeah, I couldn't handle anything more than that. And we passed by this construction site or something like that, and there was like a loud noise, or like I don't know if they dropped a beam or they like hit some type of like metal like clang or like, you know, big sound, and her horse immediately kind of like spooked because it was already kind of on edge, and she was holding the reins, and he kind of what do you call that when like a horse jumps up and is you know, so he was like really freaking out, and she was like, oh shit, and we're just like out here, you know, with there's only sand around us, and her horse actually takes off. And she was freaking out, obviously, and like trying to run after it and like calm it down and stuff. And so he starts running down like the trail, and I'm like, holy shit, I freak out. And then my horse starts to freak out like right after hers takes off, and I'm like, holy, and I'm still on top of my horse, so I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? And she's kind of like looking, or, you know, calling after her horse and stuff, and distracted by that as my horse starts to pick up speed. And so I was like, oh shit, like how do I handle this? And I was trying to like calm him down and like, you know, pulling on the reins and stuff like that and trying to get him to stop. And he was freaking out, and he was going faster, and I saw like the trainer or coach like way down the line, he's kind of like stopping her horse from like going any further, and he was like calling, like shouting, like waving his arms as my horse is like going super fast, and I'm just like bouncing along because my what do you call those, stirrups, the things you put your feet in, aren't like high enough for me to like get up and like in the proper stance, so they're just kind of hanging low, and I'm like bouncing and I'm freaking out, my heart is pounding, and the horse is going faster, and he's like really freaked out, and I know that I'm like, I've lost control of him and I can't do anything. So I thought like, okay, I should jump off now before he like goes farther, like, you know, I'd get into real trouble. Yeah, it's kind of a dumb idea, but I just, you know, fight or flight, like so I decided to jump off the horse. He's like running, and then he kind of like stopped for a second to like jump up. Like I said before, like I don't know what that's called when a horse like jumps up like that. It probably looked super badass. I wish someone took a photo or video. And at that point, when he kind of like was getting up, I was like, this is my perfect chance. So I took out my left foot from the side, but he like jumped up, and so I kind of like half pulled out, half fell off, or I was thrown off the horse, and I hit the ground like stunned. And luckily, I know this is like, could be a very bad situation, and people have gotten seriously injured or even died in situations like this, but I landed in a pile of sand because like I said, we were out in the desert, and so I just like fell into the sand, like freaked out, and kind of like stood there for a second, and I could still hear the horses like freaking out, and the coach like yelling and all that other stuff, and my friend is like freaking out, and I got up and I was like, holy shit, and my like legs and my tailbone, I think I landed like directly on my tailbone. For the next weeks after that, it was like really badly bruised, and it hurt to like sit or even to lay down, or just like certain movements. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I didn't go back to the stables after that. I was super embarrassed to go back there and handle the, like, you know, people and the horses and stuff. And yeah, that was the third and final story for today. I hope that was interesting to you guys. There are other stories that I didn't really get to, but I don't want the video to be super long. Like, they're more like hotel stories and drinking stories and just going to the Dubai Mall, like things like that. But and give it this video a thumbs up if it entertained you in any way. Check out my channel, subscribe. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just gonna go. Peace out. Bye.
My friend had one of the times that I went horseback riding, brunch on the beach with my mom, and that's it. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe.